Warning: this article contains spoilers for Sharp Objects Episode 1 Dark and Foreboding. The opening episode of HBO's Sharp Objects was a harrowing introduction into the world of the acclaimed Gillian Flynn novel. Played by Amy Adams, the protagonist Camille Preaker is an alcoholic news reporter sent back to her rural hometown to cover the disappearance and murder of two young girls. The miniseries is 6 episodes long and airs on HBO in the US and Atlantic in the UK. It is directed by Jean-Marc Vallée, who directed Big Little Lies, and produced by the production company behind Get Out. Is Wind Gap a real place? Sharp Objects Episode 1 Recap. The first episode of Sharp Objects set up the world of Camille Preaker. It opens with a nostalgic flashback to a young Camille, played by Sophia Lillis, and her sister Marion, Lulu Wilson, roller skating in their hometown, Wind Gap. As children, they sneak past their mother Idora, Patricia Clarkson, and back into the house, but then the viewer is shown modern features such as an Obama poster, and it is revealed that it is no longer a flashback but a dream. As the girls enter the room of a sleeping adult Camille, her younger self starts to poke her with a paper clip before she jolts awake. The transitions between the present and flashbacks are subtle and at once jarring when Camille snaps back from her memories. How many episodes are in the Sharp Objects? Adams gives an intriguing study into the character of Camille, who is a complete mess and a far cry from her younger carefree self. She writes for a local newspaper in St. Louis and has a severe alcohol addiction. Though high-functioning, her problem is pretty drastic, as she regularly chugs back baby bottles of spirits and keeps an Evian bottle filled with vodka to swig on. Her gruff editor Frank Curry, Miguel Sandoval, sends her back to her hometown to investigate if there is a link between a missing teenage girl and another one who was previously murdered. The first victim is Anne Nash, Kagan Barron, who went missing on her way to a friend's house where Sharp Objects filmed. Her body was found hung up on a clothesline by a group of hunters. The second victim, Natalie Keene, Jessica Tresca, has only recently vanished, and there is a search party taking place. Camille really doesn't want to go back but reluctantly does so. Her memories form a huge part of the episode, and we learn that her sister Marion D. Young, which has left a lasting and profound effect on Camille. How to watch Sharp Objects. Only Nash meets local police who don't want her getting involved, signaling early on that her presence in Wind Gap is met with hostility by most of the locals. When she does go back to her mother's huge, impressive home, it's clear their relationship is strained. Idora seems to not want her daughter back in the house and is obsessed with the thought that she will embarrass the family by snooping around. On her first night back, Camille has a flashback to her sister having what appears to be a seizure in her childhood bedroom. This upsets her, so she sneaks out and goes to a bar where she talks to detective on the case Richard Willis, Chris Messina. Sharp Objects Episode 2 Promosh gets drunk and passes out in her car and has to sneak back the next morning, like a teenager, but is caught by her mother, who berates her for such behavior. Camille interviews the father of Anne, who was murdered, before heading into town, where she is present when the missing girl's boy is discovered. As a group of young girls tamper with the memorial in the town square, and Camille talks to Natalie's brother John Keene, Taylor John Smith. Natalie's lifeless body is found propped up in an alleyway, her teeth all missing. Camille has to give a statement in the police station, where Detective Willis brings her a bottle of whiskey. Who is in the cast of Sharp Objects? She gets back home only to realize that her other half-sister Emma, Eliza Scanlon, is actually the ringleader of the teenage girls she encountered twice already. Only now she's dressed in her Sunday best and on her best behavior for Idora. Emma reminds Camille that Marion's room is left like a shrine, and upon taking a look, Camille is transported back to her sister's funeral, in which she had to be forcibly removed when she frantically tried to wipe the makeup of her dead sister's face in the coffin. The circumstances surrounding Marion's death are still unclear. How many episodes are in Sharp Objects on HBO? The episode ends with Camille taking a bath in her childhood room. As her body comes into focus, it becomes clear that her body is covered in scars that spell out words. Self-harm scars cover her entire body, and one that spells out the word Vanish is prominent just before the credits roll. Sharp Objects airs Atlantic on Monday nights at 9 p.m.